Today, I'm going to teach you some back exercises. Most people train their back for years and barely see any real growth. Their biceps blow up, their traps get sore, but that V-taper and thickness they're chasing just won't show up. For the longest time, my back was exactly the same. I'd hammer pull-ups, rows, and deadlifts every week, but my back looked flat and narrow. Then everything changed when I discovered 3 critical modifications to the exercises I was already doing. My back finally started growing, and it happened fast. These same adjustments will transform your back too, but only if you understand exactly why they work. Let's start with the lower lats, the foundation of that V-taper everyone wants. When your lower lats are developed, you'll have that sweep that makes your waist look smaller and your upper body look wider. The standard lat pull-down seems like the obvious choice since it literally has lat in the name. But the way most people do it barely touches the lats at all. The main mistake comes down to elbow position. When you grab a wide bar with an overhand grip, your elbows naturally flare out to the sides like chicken wings. That position is great for hitting your upper back muscles, but terrible for lat activation. To really work the lats, you need your elbows tucked close to your body as you pull. The fix is simple. Bring your hands closer together, about shoulder width apart, and use a neutral grip where your palms face each other. If your gym has a close grip neutral bar, that's perfect. No neutral bar? Use a V-bar attachment. If that's not available either, you can still make it work with a regular bar, but flip your grip to underhand. Yes, this brings your biceps into the movement more, but it's still way better for lat activation than the wide overhand grip everyone defaults to. Now here's the technique that really makes the difference. Stop thinking about pulling with your hands. Instead, focus on driving your elbows down in a slight arc, pulling them forward and then down toward your hips. At the same time, actively pull your shoulders down away from your ears. Keep pulling until your elbows are in line with your torso, then control the weight back up. But here's the critical part that most people mess up. At the top of every rep, fully extend your arms and let your shoulders rise up. You want a deep stretch in your lats, and here's a game changer. Once you hit failure on full reps, don't stop. Keep going with half reps in that top stretch position. You might think stopping at failure with good form is the right move, but you're actually leaving gains on the table. Most of the muscle building stimulus comes from that stretch position at the top, so when you can't complete full reps anymore, bang out as many half reps as you can in the top half of the movement. Now let's move to the upper lats. And this is where you'll really start seeing that width that makes you look massive even in a regular t-shirt. The upper lats are what create that dramatic taper, but they require a completely different approach than the lower lats. We're going to use a cable row, but modified in a way that most people never do. First, let's talk about grip again. Just like with the pull down, you want your hands about shoulder width apart with a neutral grip. A V-bar works, but I'm also going to show you a dumbbell variation in a second that's incredibly effective. Here's the next adjustment. Instead of sitting upright like you see most people do, you need to lean forward slightly. Brace your core hard and hinge at the hips just a bit. This does 2 things. It lines up the resistance directly with your upper lat fibers, and it allows for a much deeper stretch at the end of each rep. Now for the pulling motion, think about that same elbow path we used before. Drive your elbows back and down toward your hips in an arcing motion. But here's how you keep your biceps from taking over. Pay attention to your forearms. The more your forearms angle upward as you pull, the more your biceps are doing the work instead of your lats. Keep your forearms as parallel to the floor as possible by focusing purely on pulling the elbows back and down, not pulling with your hands. Once your elbows reach your torso, control the weight back and fully extend your arms, letting your shoulders come forward to get that crucial stretch. The dumbbell alternative is even better in some ways. Set up an incline bench at about 30 degrees. Plant one arm on the bench for support, then step your opposite leg far out to the side. This creates a really stable base and makes the whole movement less awkward. Brace your core and think about sweeping the dumbbell down toward your hip in that same arcing path. Keep your elbow tight to your side. And here's the key for reducing bicep involvement with dumbbells. Keep your forearm vertical throughout the pull. As you get near the top of the movement, your body's going to want to rotate to make it easier. Fight that urge. Keep your back flat and your torso stable. Pull until your elbow is in line with your torso, then control it back down. And just like before, once you can't do full reps anymore, keep hammering out half reps in the stretch position until you've got nothing left. Time to build some serious thickness with the mid-back muscles, your traps, rhomboids, and rear delts. This is what makes your back look dense and three-dimensional when you turn to the side. We're using another cable row variation, but this time the setup is completely different to shift the focus away from the lats. Unlike lat work where you want elbows tucked in, mid-back training requires your elbows to flare out away from your body. Most people try to do this with a narrow grip so their elbows kind of stick out, but not enough to really hammer those mid-back muscles. The solution is going wider with your grip, noticeably wider than shoulder width. An overhand grip on a straight bar works perfectly here. Now, instead of leaning forward like we did for upper lats, this time lean back slightly. Brace your core and pull the bar back and up toward your chest, letting your elbows flare out in an arrow or T-shape. At the peak of the contraction, squeeze your shoulder blades together as hard as you can, then control the weight back. The stretch here is just as important, so really open up your shoulder blades at the end of each rep to fully lengthen those traps and rhomboids. A T-bar row is another excellent option that really loads the mid-back. But regardless of which variation you choose, here's the technique that personally blew up my traps faster than anything else. After you reach failure on full reps, keep going with half reps just like we've been doing. But don't stop there. Once you can't even do half reps anymore, here's what you do. Keep your arms straight with your shoulder blades open wide, then squeeze them together hard, almost like you're doing a shrug but focusing on pulling your shoulder blades together. Open them back up and repeat this scapular movement for as many reps as possible until nothing happens when you squeeze. It's absolutely brutal, and the pump you'll get is insane, but this finishing technique will blow up your traps unbelievably fast. The bottom line is this: building an impressive back isn't about doing a million different exercises or spending 2 hours in the gym. It's about making smart modifications to the core movements so you're actually hitting the right muscles with every rep. Master that close grip pull down for lower lats. Dial in your rowing technique for upper lats and mid-back. Don't neglect your lower back and rear delts. And use those lengthened partials and drop set techniques to squeeze out every bit of growth. Stay consistent with these adjustments. Progressively add weight over time, and your back will transform faster than you ever thought possible.